There are a ton of troops in Warcraft Rumble, and most of them are really good, but here are the ones I think you should stay away from. The worst units in the game. Hi everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw, and a big shout out to Blizzard for sponsoring this and other Warcraft Rumble videos on my channel. Let's do it. I don't have these in a particular order, but let's just say number 10 right here is the Living Bomb. The big issue with this spell is not that it doesn't do a ton of damage, it absolutely does. It's that it is a 6 cost spell. It's so expensive for what it ends up doing, and there are other spells like Blizzard that will probably end up doing the same amount of damage or maybe slightly less, but when you are spending just about as much as you can spend in the game until one of these new Cenarian units drops very soon that actually can cost your entire gold pool, you are hoping that it does a little bit more than just eliminating some units around. Yes, there are times where a nicely timed Living Bomb could be excellent, but there are just so many other things you would rather spend that gold on. As far as talents are concerned also, I really haven't found anything that I love. I feel like maybe Blast Radius could be good, maybe Chain Reaction, but in general, I think this spell just costs too much for what it does. Number 9 is the Flame Waker. Flame Waker is weird. I don't actually hate this unit, but I also feel like it's really hard to slot into a lot of decks. Part of it's that it's a 4 cost, part of it is that it doesn't hit flying units, and then for 1 more cost you could have something like a Huntress, which just outshines it 1,000,000%, right? And that's easy to say when something is more expensive for sure, but I just don't feel like there are a lot of good places to put this unit in, and it's countered pretty easily. As far as talents are concerned, I actually think Backdraft is pretty cool when it works. When you're attacking, successive wave attacks will make the distance increase, which actually can knock out some enemies that are making their way in towards a fight. In general, though, I just can't find a lot of good use for this unit. I can't find a lot of decks to put it in. The Warsong grunts will be our number 8. And again, this isn't in a particular order, but this is just a really high cost unit that I feel like doesn't get enough done. Yes, you can split them, which you kind of see in this video, which is sort of cool, but I feel like they just don't have enough going on for the amount that they cost. And this is a reoccurring theme on this list. You know, gold and the value a unit gives you, it's very, very important to understand if that is enough or not, right? And I feel like I don't see it here with the Warsong grunts. It's interesting that they have Fury, which I think is nice. They're a tank. They don't have resistant or armored. I wonder if they had one of those, they might be a little bit better. As far as talents are concerned, I don't really love a lot of them either. Command is interesting, but it feels like it's set up for a really specific deck. Then there's guard duty, and I have no idea whether or not that's good. I really don't know. I don't see anyone run it. And then we have Blood Pact, which is what I'm using. When one of the grunts dies, the other gets Bloodlust, which is pretty cool. In general, it's just so expensive for sort of a kind of basic melee unit. Speaking of not worth its cost here, our number 7 is going to be the Molten Giant. The big issue with this unit is it's just crazy expensive and it can't attack air. Other than that, it's kind of good, but it's so pricey for what you get. And it feels like when you're able to drop a Molten Giant, a 6 cost drop, and your opponents can beat you with something like, you know, Flame Burst Whelp Eggs or Harpies or even a Griffin Rider, given enough time, could eventually take it down. It's just a little tough. Some of the units that only attack melee are rough for this reason. This unit is somewhere in the vein of Corehounds. However, I could only pick so many units that were just like this, so Corehounds actually don't make our list, but the Molten Giant and the grunts do. The nice thing is it's armored, and as far as its talents are concerned, it seems okay. Like Taunt, yeah, you're gonna pull aggro. That's actually kind of nice. Blood of the Mountain, you explode on death, damaging nearby enemies. I think that's good because these things will go down. Bolster heals when destroying a tower. So specific, will only happen a couple times. I really don't think that's a good talent at all. Number 6 are our Spiderlings. They feel like they wouldn't be that bad. They're only a 2-drop. They poison enemies. They come in a little group. They're resistant. It always feels like these things are going to do something. I swear, maybe it's just they're too weak. I can't figure it out. Even against this Earth Elemental, they're really not doing that much damage to it. And this is one of those 2-drops that I feel like as a 2-drop unit, it competes with so many other good ones that I can never find a time to slot it into a deck, and they feel like super easy to deal with. There are a few good options for talents. I feel like either Bloated Carapace, where they explode, poisoning enemies, or Envenom, dealing twice as much poison damage, are fine. But in general, they're just low health, they're easy to knock out, they can't attack air, they're not that good, and there's so many good 2-drops. Number 5 is another underwhelming 2-drop, and that is going to be the Plague Farmer. I keep trying to make the Plague Farmer happen in a lot of my decks, and I like it, but it's like fetch. It's never going to happen. So the big thing I think that's wrong with this is it attacks pretty dang slow without the Splashing Pumpkins talent, which I have. Its range is not as long as you want it to be. It's really, really squishy. It feels like a lot of the area damage that you deal with in the game, things like blizzards, things like chain lightning, things like our gnome, our safe pilot gnome, that just deletes this thing before it even gets a chance to act. If a Stonehoof Tauren flies towards it, it explodes the second it hits it. It's cool being a 2-drop. It's nice being able to attack from range, but I feel like it's just too easily dealt with. Number 4 is the Ogre Mage. And now if you are playing this game PvE and you are playing against, a lot of the missions in this game, you're gonna think this is one of the best units to ever exist. The thing is, the PvE missions will give this to the thing you're fighting, the computer, however you want to look at it, the non-player character. It will give it to their side so much, and you'll think Ogre Mage is the most broken thing in the world. The problem is it's so dang expensive for what it does. It's a 5-drop that attacks from range. It's nowhere near the Huntress in what it is able to bring to the team. In PvE, you're gonna think it's broken. In PvP, or when you're using it, you're gonna find that it really doesn't provide the value for its cost. I think there are a couple cool talents for it. I do like the talent I have, which is Frost. I feel like Ignite or Avarice could be pretty cool as well. Excuse me, Avarice. It could be pretty cool as well, but I do like Frost. Getting the extra slow, I think, is really, really solid. Number 3 are the Angry Chickens. I like the Angry Chickens. They just don't do enough. Yes, against a single target unit, as you're seeing in the footage right there, they're actually able to do some decent damage. I also think it's very funny to use the Walking Crate, which is what I have. There are other cool talents, like Sacrifice is pretty cool. Furious Fowl, I think, is fun. You can set up some fun plays with the Angry Chickens, but in general, as a 2-drop, they're just like a wave of something that always gets knocked out and provides almost zero value to your team. Your opponents have to be playing something kind of like they work well against things that are not good. That's not good. Number 2 are the Vultures. This unit's weird. It's a 1-drop, but it does absolutely nothing. The only positive thing about Vultures is that they are flying. And of course that they're a 1-drop, I guess. They do almost 0 damage. They are, you literally breathe on them and they get wiped off the battlefield. I think for all the times I've tried to make Vultures work, and I felt like, yeah, they definitely could. They're a 1-drop. The only thing I could see is really putting them in like a Chalga deck so that you have really low cost, like rolls for some of your higher units. But I think Vultures are a super unfortunate unit. I don't know what they would need to do to them, but they should buff them or something like that. The ability I have on them is Feeding Frenzy, which you get Bloodlust when spawning a new Vulture, which is kind of cool. I could see maybe Tend and Rip. Migration, perhaps, if you're able to sort of keep a steady stream of units coming, but they're a steady stream of pretty useless units. I don't know. I don't like Vultures at all. And finally, for my money, and this is really the topic of conversation with this one, the money is the Mountaineer. I think the Mountaineer is whatever, kind of fine, and so unbelievably expensive for how mid it is that it is at the top of my list. I can't believe this is a 6-drop. They could drop it by 1 gold, and I don't even know if that would make it viable at that point. It's kind of cool. You're getting 2 units for the price of like 2, basically. And they're both kind of fine. It's a tank in front of a ranged unit. I think the idea behind this sounds way better than it actually is in practice. And the big thing is, it's just so expensive. The talent that I have on it is Mend Pets. I use this in a beast deck from time to time, which I think is kind of cool. You're able to heal kind of multiple allies, but even then, it's just got some weird ways. So it's only able to do it when you're healing the bear, so the bear has to be around. I don't know. For me, I feel like the Mountaineer is just not set up to win at all. So there you have it, the top 10 worst units in Warcraft Rumble that I would not recommend you spend time on. What unit do you think I missed that should have been this low? Let me know in the comments. Shout out to Blizzard for sponsoring this video. I can't wait to try the Cenarian family when they drop very soon. I will see you all next time. We did it.